The new season is upon us, and there's opportunity to be seized. As we reflect upon the wins and losses over the past years, we here at Gleaner think about the many places, people, and lessons we've encountered as we've traveled the harvesting world, and hoping that all of our friends and their farms are thriving. Welcome to the newest episode of the Gleaner Roadshow. Over this year, we're focusing on seizing opportunity and how doing so can make an operation more profitable, sustainable, and able to meet the challenges of the modern farm economy. For this episode, we're going to take a look at getting your best return on investment in a combine and all the different places that opportunity and challenges may lurk when it comes to harvesting. Even more, we'll do it while revisiting many of the places that these different attributes really make the difference on the sometimes thin line that separates profit from loss. Return on investment is a popular term these days, and farmers are wise to pay attention to it. After all, farm inputs are rarely cheap, and the degree to which you manage your expenses has a large impact on your profitability. Most farmers keep a good watch on ROI. They look at yield performance of certain ground, seed, and agronomy techniques, and many farmers have managed such elements down to a fine art. Yet when we look at equipment, the analysis can be a bit blurred. One combine may have high capacity, but the parts it wears through erase any financial benefit of that capacity. Another combine might have a bigger bin, but that comes at the expense of fuel, final drives, and field compaction. So after more than a few years of comparing combines and harvesting operations, we've narrowed down a simple criteria for comparing machines along three elements. First, the combine's performance. This means capacity, sample, and loss. Second, the things that are used in the harvesting process. This means fuel, time, and effort. Finally, the things that are going to wear. This means parts, fields, and value. So let's start by talking about combine performance, and the best place when talking about performance is to talk about capacity. Capacity is one of the more misused terms in harvesting. In the best situation, capacity is defined as how much crop a combine can harvest while still maintaining appropriate sample quality and loss level. In the worst examples, capacity is simply defined as pushing the combine as hard as it can handle, just shy of plugging, irrespective of what that means for grain or the field. Any combine manufacturer can simply add horsepower to an already inefficient design and gain capacity, but at some point the negative impacts of such a design will catch up with the farmer. That's why the Gleaner design relies on simplicity and natural movement of the crop to achieve optimum capacity. Rather than redirecting crop, the Gleaner design feeds smoothly and directly from the feeder house to the rotor without compressing, twisting, or shearing crop material. Few places give such a good demonstration of feeding as our ventures to the canola fields of Western Canada. Both swathed and straight-cut crops have limited windows to be brought in before it rains, so the crop is a great test of feeding performance. Too much goes into growing a crop to simply throw it out the back of the combine while harvesting. Because of the way some combines are designed, they have a tendency to lose crop in several ways. The first is the fact that a covered axial rotor tends to pile crop on the side of the shoe where the cover opens just after threshing. Second, because crop falls from the axial rotor over a relatively wide area, it can be challenging to set the air to keep the sample clean without losing some late separating crop out the back. Gleaner avoids these crop losing issues because the transverse rotor always drops crop in a uniform ribbon at the front of the cleaning shoe every time. Thanks to distribution augers and accelerator rolls, an even layer of crop is propelled directly onto the perforated cascade pan. No matter field or crop condition, the material falls on the Gleaner shoe in the exact same position and utilizes the entire shoe every time. The incredible performance of a Gleaner's cleaning shoe really shines in the tough business of harvesting grass seed in the Pacific Northwest. The very light and expensive seed could very easily blow out the back of the combine, taking plenty of profit with it. Luckily, the Gleaner's cleaning system delivers a superior sample while keeping the profit in the bin where it belongs. No matter what crop you grow, you hate to see the resulting product full of debris and damage, and you hate getting less than top dollar for what you've produced. Grain damage and excess mog tend to come from two different places. Grain damage often occurs when crop is sheared as it enters the feeding cone or auger, or as crop remains inside a covered rotor and is repeatedly impacted by the rotor. Excess smog tends to occur where the same shearing process breaks up crop material into small chunks that end up in the sample. At the same time, poor feeding, overthreshing, and the challenges of inconsistent crop position on the cleaning shoe let pods, white caps, and debris end up in the bin. A gleaner preserves crop quality by letting grain exit the rotor as soon as it is threshed and separated. A gleaner's direct and natural flow feeding system means crop gets broken up less and therefore is less likely to end up in your sample. But perhaps the most crucial element to delivering Gleaner's superior sample is the accelerator rolls. These rolls propel grain through the primary air blast before the grain even touches the shoe. This pre-cleaning occurs in mid-air and is gravity independent, allowing the same high performance even on slopes up to 23%. One of the many places where grain damage and dirty samples are not an option is the seed bean business, and we've seen it up close in the fields of eastern Kansas. Every split, crack, and damaged seed coat is a bean these growers cannot sell for seed, so the pressure is on for a pristine harvest. All combines require fuel, parts, and your time and attention, but how much of these elements are required can vary widely. The largest single input on your combine and pretty much most powered farm equipment is the fuel to produce the horsepower. But the bigger question is, when it comes to harvesting, what exactly is the horsepower being used for? And it's a good question for a simple reason. The more things it takes for a combine to do its job, the more fuel it takes to do those things. For example, most non-Gleaner combines have some sort of feeding beater inlet or cone. Not only does it take power to turn a feed beater, the whole process of shifting a crop from moving inwards towards the rotor to instead moving horizontally takes added effort as well. The same goes for rotor size. Rotor designs that are challenged to get grain out of the rotor cage must therefore be longer, larger, and take more of the combine's energy to turn them. Then there's the issue of weight. Added feeding, threshing, and cleaning systems all add weight, and then the combine's frame has to be strengthened to carry that weight, thereby adding even more weight. And all that weight takes power to move it across the field. A Gleaner uses more of its horsepower to thresh, clean, and convey crop than any other design. And since a Gleaner does not require the added systems and size, it can weigh as much as 15,000 pounds less than the same class comparable combine. Efficiency was certainly on the minds of the farmers we visited in the steep hills in Washington state. For them, every extra pound is more laden weight to carry up and down the hills and the fuel to haul it. They choose Gleaners for the efficiency, simplicity, and balanced weight design. When it comes to harvest, time is typically won or lost either by the time the machine can be in the field and the time it takes to keep the machine running. Let's take a look at those elements separately. Initially, there's the issue of getting and staying in the field. The limitations are: 1. Does the combine's weight and balance prevent it from being in a high moisture field? 2. Does the combine's ability to feed limit the time of day or crop conditions it can successfully harvest in? And then 3, the ability to quickly and completely solve service issues should they arise. First, the lower weight and balance design of a Gleaner allows the combine to get in the field and get to harvest, while many other designs would simply sink in the mud. Second, the Gleaner's direct and natural flow feeding system does not choke or bind up with higher moisture crop material the way other designs do with their more cumbersome and complex feeding systems. A Gleaner's simple design allows you quick and easy access to most service and repair points, and typically with both feet on the ground. A Gleaner is truly an all-crop design, meaning the time to change between crops is drastically reduced, getting you back out and harvesting as different conditions and opportunities demand it. Finally, there's the question of saving money, and a Gleaner delivers on 2 important key points. The first one is that a Gleaner does not need the more complex feeding and grain handling systems required by other designs, and therefore does not need to replace them as they wear out. Second, a Gleaner's standard warranty is twice as long as the other designs, giving you less cost and added assurance. Our recent trip to Wisconsin was a real study in efficiency. The wet fields, intermittent rain, and a variety of crop meant there was no time to waste getting in the field, moving between crops, and seizing opportunity right as it happens. Obviously, wearing parts have to be part of the calculation, and the advantage a Gleaner has is that it simply has less wearing parts. A Gleaner does not have or need a feed beater, a feed auger, a rotor inlet, nor does it have to have the larger rotor, larger shoe, or added weight that wears on frames and final drives. A final thought on wear is the impact it has on trade values. The feeding system on many non-Gleaner combines is complex and has to be replaced with some regularity. Whether you replace it yourself or the replacement is priced in your trade, the cost of parts is likely to catch up. Replace enough expensive feeding parts, and it's likely your patience will be the next thing to wear out. When it comes to wearing out parts and patience, no one seems to know as much as the custom harvest fleet. The need to keep machines running at top performance is literally managed minute by minute in order to stay profitable. While not as common in most calculations, the wear and tear harvesting takes on a field can certainly affect bottom line profitability. The added weight many combines bring to the field translates into compaction, ruts, and mud holes. At the very least, these can require further tillage efforts to restore the field, and at the worst, they could be robbing you of yield year after year. A good demonstration of the need to keep fields in tip-top shape are the broad no-till fields of western Kansas. These fields see such little moisture each year that they cannot afford to till up compaction from heavy combines. When people hear the word value, they often think of trade-in allowances, but the issue is often more nuanced than that. While many combines are traded every 2 to 3 years, most combine warranties end after 1 year. Additionally, combines traded at or near the 3-year mark often need major rebuilds, particularly at the feeder house. Gleaner combines come with a standard 2-year warranty and don't have the complex and expensive systems that other combines must replace or have assessed at trade time. So let's take all these elements together and put some rough numbers to them. Let's assume we have 3,000 acres with 1,000 in wheat, 1,000 in corn, and 1,000 in beans. If the wheat is paying $4.60 and we're yielding 65 bushels an acre, the revenue is $300,000. With an assumed corn price of $3.73 and an assumed yield of 175 bushels, the revenue for corn is $652,750. With the beans, we're assuming a price of $9 and a yield of 51 bushels per acre for a revenue of $459,000. The total estimated revenue is $1,411,750. We've used calculations from benchmarks with competitive combines and then compared the financial results. We estimated the Gleaner combine to have at least a 1% advantage in reduced loss and improved sample. We also estimated the Gleaner to have a 15% fuel savings based on our benchmarks against multiple competitors and modeled the result based on prevailing prices for fuel. If we look at the cost difference over 24 months of ownership, the savings from reduced loss and improved sample add up to $28,235 per year for a 2-year total of $56,470. The fuel difference totaled to $10,800 for each year for a savings of $21,600 over 2 years. While the Gleaner would remain under warranty for the entire 24 months, the competitor's warranty likely wears out halfway through the term. We estimated this difference to be worth $10,000. Additionally, we estimated the cost to replace wear parts at the end of 2 years to have a difference of around $15,000 that would either be needed for repair for future use or assessed against the trade-in value of the combine. When added together and considering loss, sample, fuel, warranty, and repair, the Gleaner saves approximately $103,070 versus the competitor over 24 months. Despite Gleaner's other advantages in weight, we decided against adding assessments for field reduction due to compaction, as the issue is very different across different conditions. We also left out the advantages a Gleaner has in saving time in daily and periodic maintenance, as these advantages and their associated value will be different for different operations. This analysis is just a snapshot of what the return on investment could be for a decently typical farm. The real test is to make the comparison on your farm in your conditions. Only then will you see how much you are saving or paying when it comes to your choice of combine. And if these numbers are getting your attention, it's time to contact your Gleaner dealer for a demonstration of your own. Our popular Operate to Own program is perfect for those who want an on-site example of what a Gleaner can mean for their bottom line. The program also features great purchase incentives because we're confident that once you run a Gleaner for yourself, it'll be clear how the savings add up. We hope your season is off to a great start, and we hope to see you at the many shows and events we'll be at this year. We also want to offer our heartfelt sympathies to our friends who have endured the terrible flooding this year, and it's our wish that you find restoration and peace as fully and quickly as possible. We hope to see you on the many roads we'll travel on this year's Gleaner Roadshow. Until then, our very best to you, Great Silver Fleet, and for the season ahead, may it bring you bounty and blessing from your friends here at Gleaner.